Well, this is right where the last video left off. I am running late, like I said in the last one. Of course, we just worked on the Firebird. You guys can still see I still have the drain pan and everything out. I'm running late. We gotta go get a cold start on the Mustang. I gotta get changed. Gonna go pick up a Fox body piece. It's really cheap and it's not far away, but I'm still running late. So we're gonna go get a cold start on the Mustang. My name is Nick. You're watching Olsen Auto. If you are new to the channel, take a look around. I got my Firebird, my Fox body Mustang. We have a few other toys as well. I build a lot of cool cars, and none of them are really fast, but maybe someday one of them will have a sub 15-second quarter mile. Not bad, still needs an X-pipe though. Well, after an hour of driving, we have a new lower radiator support for the 88 notchback here. Obviously, it needs more than just the lower radiator support. That's our goal for this video, is that. But it needs a lower radiator support nonetheless. You guys can see it's all kinds of crunched up under there. So got a nice new one. Looks a lot better. That guy is building what has to be the coolest Fox body in the world. I believe he said is a 1990 notchback with the Mercedes OM 606 turbo diesel drift car. Thing is insane, makes like 500 horsepower, super cool car. Maybe someday we'll do a video on it. Maybe I'll have to keep in contact, but it's his little project and that thing is absolutely sick. He's got to be the first in the world to do an OM 606 swap Fox body. Super unique, makes me feel bad for going with a standard 302, but at least I'm not LS swapping. Before we start on the Fox body rot repair, quick little startup of the Firebird. Hopefully the rear end doesn't leak. We're gonna see if this thing even actually starts up. So this could be, well, interesting to say the least. I'll be damned. A little smoky. The emptiest this driveway has ever been. Fox body is going to be sitting right here so I can have access to electrical and air if I need it. Got the old F-150. She's ready to tow for the first time. I think it's the first time for this truck towing. We're gonna see if this thing can do it. Got a chain rigged up going to the cross member, I believe. So we're gonna see what happens. Now, that's a little bit of negative camber. That's a bit of positive camber. This is a solid axle car, so keep that in mind. 88 notch is in the driveway. All right, so you guys can see why we got that new lower radiator support. So chop it there and there, that'll give me that. And you guys can see why we're fixing that rot. That's supposed to be frame. The goal is to at least get it back on the ground, rolling, bolted together before snowfall. I don't want to leave it in the driveway, because if it does snow, this thing's going to be a nightmare to push around. The engine's not going back in for a little while. I'm going to build it over the winter. Last winter, I painted it, made it look pretty. This winter, I'm going to undo basically everything I did last time and make it actually fast. I want to make roughly 400 wheel horsepower or more. Figure that'll make this car nice and fun, and then I can justify a drag pack on it. Some nice skinnies in the front and big boys in the rear. Run like a set of 33s or something absolutely ridiculous. Gonna start off by loosening these bolts and then jack the car up off of the K-member, roll the K-member forward, put some jack stands under there and there in the front, and then get some jack stands in the rear, pop the rear end out. Gonna start with the front end though. Headers have to come off because obviously they're right in the way of where I'll be working. So those have to come off. Gonna pull the transmission out and of course the whole K-member so we can weld in there. Shouldn't be too bad. Want to get the patches done in the next week or so. This is gonna suck. Okay, a little off-camera mining there. Got those out, sway bars down, cars jacked up on both sides. And I'm going to jack up the cross member. I am going to do what a lot of people would probably hate me for and solve that problem, because I'm gonna buy new flex lines and probably all new brake lines for this car. I'm not too scared to do that. That caliper is obviously beyond shot. I wasn't ever thinking of reusing most of this car. I basically just bought a roof and A-pillars. What is that? What is that? Some more off-camera mining. Didn't feel like recording this because that is very heavy and awkward. But as you can see, we got the K-member completely out, sitting over here. This is all gonna get prettied up. Don't you worry about that. I am going to be not shaving the engine bay, but there's like a lot of extra little cutouts and holes. Gonna be filling all of those in, make this look nice and pretty. Hopefully weld most of these. Gonna mark out the holes that I need to keep and start disassembling. Probably gonna pull the full exhaust off because, well, that exhaust has to get cleaned up at a minimum. Make sure it can come apart because in the future I want to do some headers. Not sure if I'm gonna do that before the engine goes in, but I want to make sure that if I do it after the engine goes in, it's not a problem. I haven't been showing a lot of the disassembly because that's not really the point of this video. The point of this video is to show you guys some tips and tricks and, you know, my first time really repairing strut tower rot, show you how I go about it, and of course smoothing the engine bay, making everything look pretty. So I haven't shown you much of the disassembly. Transmission and drive shaft are out, trans is over there. The full exhaust is out. That has to get redone. A lot of this car has to get redone, but the exhaust is also on that list. That and that are the big prime suspects, and of course this while I'm in here. Well, it is the start of day 2 of the Fox body video, of course. Last time we left off, which you guys saw like 2 seconds ago, we got this thing all apart. Going to pick up some more parts today, actually a little impulsively, but I'll show you guys that in a little bit. Gonna be a full 5-lug swap, bunch of other cool stuff, new rear end, because my rear end in this car has been sitting completely open. I don't know if you guys could actually see that. I'll show you in a little bit. That won't happen in this video, but that rear end's been sitting wide open, no fluid, no cover for years. So I don't even want to attempt to fix it, and I'm going to pick up new rear end, 373 with new drums and a 5-lug swap, front and rear, new calipers and rotors for the front for the 5-lug swap. All right, so I busted out the little Chicago electric thing. We have a adjustment there. Just a Harbor Freight was like 25 bucks for the whole kit. Have the little ball sander on here. Listen to this thing. She's a little ripper for sure. Got it plugged in, of course, and was just giving it a little test run on these few holes right here just so I could practice getting everything set up. You guys can see, took it right down to bare metal very quickly. So we're just gonna start working. I'm gonna time lapse it because I gotta leave in like 20 minutes, but I can get a lot of these done and cleaned up. Just gonna get a rough idea going so I can at least say I did something this morning. Gonna bust out that tool because my patches are coming in today. 400 big ones later, got some 5-lug wheels. I do have all the center caps. Tires are pretty shot, but they should at least hold some air. Got the rear end, that's a 373 limited slip. Brand new drums, brand new rotors, and all new drum hardware. So that's awesome because I don't have any semblance of drums or brakes in the rear. So now we are going to, of course, ignore the prelude. This is horrible. So I got the sander. We're gonna continue. I'm gonna use this as a test patch. I am going to use JB weld instead of welding it. These holes are pretty big and well, they're not structural, so JB weld is probably gonna be the better bet to cover those up. I just figure it's easier, it's cheaper, and it's gonna achieve the same effect, right? I'm just looking to cover these up. Realistically, it doesn't need to be welded. I'm not going for a SEMA build here, and even if it was SEMA, they would probably use JB weld. Took quite the break, but I actually got all of these holes filled. I did use the JB Weld steel stick. I thought it would work best, and I think I was right because this metal, like you can see me flexing it, way too thin to even try welding. So I used 2 sticks. I got all of these holes filled in, all there. Got this strut tower nice and done, and most of the holes over there. I had to leave some because I know I'm gonna need them, and I left a few for like my ground straps and whatnot that I know I'm gonna have. I gotta start disassembling this, but I'm gonna cut this up a little bit because these pieces came in. These are gonna be my patch panels. You see we got the 2 big K-member bolts, and they sit something like that against the car. So I'm gonna take a quick minute and I'm gonna cut that up and see how bad the rot really is, because that bottom plate is very solid. So I might just clean it up, 415 it, and put this on top, but we'll see. Well, after a fair bit of cutting with my angle grinder and whatnot, as you can see, got most of the rot out. What's cool is the front plate and the bottom plate are extremely solid. Cool little trick, if you get a screwdriver, just stab it as hard as you can. If it's not gonna break through, the metal's pretty solid. So, gonna clean it up, pour 15 it, make sure it's never gonna rot again on the inside. Gotta clean up all those edges and, you know, make sure I cut back as much of the rot as I can. And then we're gonna use my new plates. I was testing out the angle grinder on the steel stick and it works pretty good. Gonna be a lot of time to make sure everything looks proper, but then we're gonna Bondo the whole thing, smooth it out, sand it, and paint it. So hopefully this whole front looks a lot smoother. Got some stuff we gotta patch up back there. But that's coming out good so far. A little bit more cutting to do, cleaning it, painting it, and then we'll be able to put the patch on and weld it. All right, so I made a lot of progress today that I haven't been recording, just trying to get this done. So I'll break everything down for you guys real quick. I just went ahead, made these 3 sleeves. I am using standard bolts because that's all that Lowe's had that was actually zinc coated here and here. And then we got sleeves, of course. Bolt is gonna sit in the sleeve like that, so it's perfect. So what I did was cleaned up everything in there. You guys can see how much I actually have cut out. Quite a bit is gone. Wanted to make sure I got all of the rust out of that section. What I'm gonna do now is weld those in. The bottom plate and the front plate, this one right here, on that side are still good. So I'm leaving that as is. You may notice there's some primer spray there and there. I didn't want this to rust because I'm gonna be not working on the car for a couple days. So I am gonna end this video here. The goal was to get this one side done, but this video is already getting pretty long. I have 3 sleeves cut and tack welded in, so those aren't gonna go anywhere. Next video, we're gonna finish up the entirety of this. So we're gonna get both sides done in the next video. This was more of the disassembly and, you know, sort of cutting into it, seeing where the rust goes. I laid some primer in there, so I'm gonna let that dry. I'll probably throw on another coat. I mean, the rust on that side's not too bad. It's not great, but it's not terrible. This side's gonna suck to do, and I figure that's why I'm not going to include it in this video. So I am going to end it here. I do want to thank you guys so much for watching this video. Make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell because this car is going to be going back together someday, and you probably don't want to miss that video. Going to lay some nice heaters, I imagine, rip the boil the old tires off. Well, technically the wheels are over there, but we're going to boil those tires off nonetheless. They're dry rotted, they're junk, so those will disappear quickly. Thank you guys so much for watching this one, and I will see you in the next one.
My brothers, one day we gon' make it. We just gotta grind for that paycheck. Mama told me one day I'll be famous. Remember when she used to say she hate this? That ended with life when I say shit. Now I'm inside all them people's playlists. So one day I'll be stomping.